The leading American aerospace manufacturer and provider of space transportation services, SpaceX, just landed a contract with the U.S. Air Force in a deal that's worth over $102 million. This project's scope is bigger than anything anyone's ever dreamed of, and that's exactly what we'll be covering in this video. Welcome to Metaverse, the space where all things tech get the spotlight. If you're new here, then go ahead and subscribe to the channel for your dose of tech trend news, Tesla reviews, and other insights into the tech world. On June 4, 2021, the U.S. Air Force officially announced the assignment of rocket cargo as the fourth Vanguard program that's part of its transformational science and technology portfolio for the next decade. Through the program and its vendors, the AFRL, or Air Force Research Laboratory, will be able to assess the feasibility of utilizing large commercial rockets for both logistical and military purposes. In January this year, it was announced that SpaceX was able to snag that coveted $100 million contract from the U.S. Air Force. The program seeks to demonstrate technologies that will be able to determine the viability of using large rockets to support the DoD's global logistics missions. It aims to be able to transport both military cargo and humanitarian aid around the world through a heavy rocket. The 5-year contract will be spearheaded by the AFRL that involves using commercial rockets for the DoD's global logistics requirements. Its program manager, Greg Spaniers, has shared that the contract will determine the capacity, the speed, and the cost that an integrated system could achieve. However, it is yet unclear which of SpaceX's rockets will be utilized in the project. The U.S. Department of Defense envisions being able to reach disaster-stricken areas that do not have access to a spaceport, and the government-industry partnership aims to allow the delivery of necessary supplies despite being lacking in this area. Spanier says, "We are therefore exploring a wider range of novel trajectories to mitigate overflight issues, exploring a broad range of landing options for austere sites, researching human factors when landing near populations, and integrating a broader range of cargo, including medical supplies." As part of the contract, the AFRL will be given access to SpaceX's commercial orbital launches and booster landings for the purpose of collecting environment data needed for the program. Specifically, SpaceX will need to showcase its technologies and capabilities to transport military cargo, humanitarian aid, among other things. At this point, however, there is no fixed time for the said demonstration. Instead, the AFRL will be allowed to observe and study data for SpaceX's launches over the next couple of years or whenever SpaceX takes on any relevant mission. Being the largest rocket cargo contract that's ever been offered, all eyes are on both parties as they explore the various concepts and methods for rapid transportation through space. Spaniers also shares that commercial vendors envision fixed point-to-point transport to established sites, commercial service that we are certainly interested in procuring once available. He said the Department of Defense is very interested in the ability to deliver cargo anywhere on Earth to support humanitarian aid and disaster relief. Besides that, the SpaceX Air Force contract also covers the demonstration of the transporting of heavy cargo and landing capabilities in a few years' time, but the specifics for that have yet to be determined. Spanier says that significant heavy cargo from orbit has not yet been previously attempted. It will fully stress the commercial thermal protection system, landing propulsion, and landing legs. Vice General J. Raymond, U.S. Air Force Chief of Space Operations, says that once realized, rocket cargo will fundamentally alter the rapid logistics landscape, connecting material to joint warfighters in a fraction of the time that it takes today. In the event of conflict or humanitarian crisis, the Space Force will be able to provide our national leadership with an independent option to achieve strategic objectives from space. While this is a win for SpaceX, Spaniards mentioned that the Air Force does intend to work with other providers as well. Quote unquote, "We continue to talk to other launch vehicle providers and will consider awarding additional contracts later on in the program." It is a well-known fact that SpaceX has developed orbital launch systems that can be reused, similar to how an aircraft can be used many times over. This reusability allows SpaceX to refly the most expensive parts of the rocket, making missions much more affordable and accessible. Besides developing the Starship, SpaceX's massive rocket, it is likewise developing a reusable booster system called the Super Heavy. This technology will be capable of launching 100 metric tons into Earth's orbit, besides being able to travel point to point across the globe. On another note, the FCC, or Federal Communications Commission, approved a request made by SpaceX regarding a proposed modification of its Starlink satellite license. SpaceX and the tests will demonstrate that data can be transmitted and received from stationary ground sites, airborne aircraft at a single location, and moving vehicles. SpaceX's Starlink project is focusing on the use of thousands of satellites called a constellation in the space industry. This constellation will be used to establish an interconnected internet network and deliver faster internet service to its customer base. For this test, SpaceX has shared that it would be working with Ball Aerospace, a defense and space contractor which will provide the antennas necessary for connecting Starlink satellites to an aircraft. SpaceX has not specified a time frame for the tests, but anticipate that the testing proper should take anywhere between 4 to 6 months to complete. Starlink's outstanding performance continues to expand as SpaceX has launched around 2,100 satellites into orbit to date. In November, the company started seeking approval from the Federal Communications Commission to begin connecting private jets to Starlink. Last January, SpaceX also requested for the FCC to bring in its authorization to include moving vehicles so that Starlink could be used by everything from trucks to ships and aircrafts. We haven't gotten any updates from them so far, but how do you feel about the prospects? Please sound off in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more Tesla and tech updates on this space.